Hi, and welcome back to Thone's Hebrews Nibbles number 54, the earthly sanctuary, part 2 of 2, the furniture in the temple. And we already read Hebrews 9, 1 through 5, and so if you want to pause here and read that to refresh yourself, that's certainly a good idea. Historical symbolism of spiritual truth. Now, why is this in the Bible? Things God showed us in Israel that represented our spiritual future. Some of the things that we're going to be talking about have equivalence in our future life or present life, perhaps, and it helps us to connect the two. The communication sure is what the temple tells us. Application to me. The lampstand, the menorah, it burned pure olive oil to illuminate the temple. Just as Jesus illuminated us, he became the light of the world. The 12 loaves of consecrated bread on the altar represented the 12 tribes of Israel. The Ark of the Covenant represented the presence of God in their lives. They were to meet God between the cherubim at the mercy seat, which is where the high priest sprinkled the blood of the yearly sacrifice on the Day of Atonement. This represents God's willingness to forgive us one and all through Jesus' sacrifice of his blood. The fact that God was willing to accept the high priest, simply presenting this sacrifice for the entire people of Israel, it's easy to understand that God is also going to accept individual sacrifices, so to speak, one by one, whereas the sacrifice has already happened in Jesus' blood. And so now we just come and ask, Father, forgive me. And that's his willingness to forgive. Is that simple? Because his Son had already paid the price, the punishment, whatever you want to call it, for everything we will do. God's message to us here is, this shows the connection between the Old Testament symbolic acts and the New Testament spiritual acts, salvation for the believers. And my personal response is, Lord, thank you for explaining the heavenly things to come by the symbolism of physical earthly acts from long ago. We can picture these things, that the light in the temple, the pure flame of the olive oil, tells us something important about Jesus, that he was going to be the light of the world, and so on. All these things had a meaning. It's not called the mercy seat for a random reason. It's the mercy seat, which is where then the high priest came to obtain mercy for another year for God's people. God sits on his throne today, and that is our mercy seat, in that we can go to him whenever we want in prayer and be forgiven. Physical, earthly acts are similar to the heavenly things we're going to see. We'll talk to you next time.